Hello and welcome to this episode of Pipeline to Profitability. I'm Alan Ferguson. This podcast is proudly sponsored by Service Success Academy. So today I'd like to welcome Daniel Sofr. Now, Daniel is a professional content strategist who works with businesses and individuals to plan, create, and publish content online, specifically for social media. Now, Daniel focuses on making content that is going to grow your brand and get you more customers. Love to introduce you to my man, Daniel Sofr. So I'd like to bring Daniel into the podcast. And so I probably have not given enough about what you do and the value you bring to me. So I'm going to let you tell all of our podcast listeners a little bit about Daniel and what you do and how we can add value to every one of our listeners. So welcome, Daniel.
Thanks, Alan. So my name is Daniel Sofr. I'm, I guess, a 23-year-old content creator, content specialist. I don't like the word content creator because there's a lot of people who say they create content, but it's not really, it's a very, very kind of vague thing. What I typically specialize in and the general focus of my work is, creating video content and photos that are going to lead to conversions or sales or just brand awareness. So, developing specific pieces of content that go online with a specific goal in mind. But typically, it's obviously generate leads and then get sales and make yourself some money. So, whether that's through like video or photo, both are great. But I focus mainly on the kind of like YouTube side of things and social media specifically. That's where most of the business is now anyways. Everything's on social media, everyone's on their phones, everyone's on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and everything like that. That's basically what I do. I work with people to help them either produce good content, plan ideas for content. I've done stuff from pretty much shooting everything. So that would be pre-production, because I am a videographer as well and photographer, or whether it's someone who has existing content or already has content and then they just want me to kind of chop it up and put everything together. That's kind of a brief overview of what I do and my skill set, I guess you could say.
Well, what I want to say is that anyone that is new to this podcast, Pipeline to Profitability, if you see some of the cool reels that we've been creating with all of our guests in the last year, Daniel has been very instrumental in creating the reels. And look, one of the areas that I've really started to help all the contractors, mainly plumbers that I work with, as the cost of Google AdWords and the cost of marketing is going up and up and up. And I've been following the likes of, let's say, Gary Vaynerchuk and Kerwin Ray from Down Under on the importance of social marketing. Now, I don't believe that contractors need to spend a lot of money with this. I think they need to have some ideas and put together some really cool videos that are, I suppose, related to what they do, whether it's plumbing or drain cleaning or electrical or air conditioning, which, we've got a few followers there. So if one of our listeners wanted to really turn up their social marketing, and I led them to you, and I recommend everyone to you because you do a phenomenal job, what's some of the key things they need to do to really get some attention out there in social world?
Well, the biggest thing I would say is kind of having or building a brand. It's a little bit different when it comes to this contractor work, when it comes to like heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and drains, because typically that's kind of like what we would classify as like an essential, right? You need these things in a house, otherwise it's not going to be a very pleasant living experience. So you're always going to have people who are like looking for that stuff. So you've already kind of got an audience, right? But I've worked in the past with people who are trying to sell things that aren't necessities and just kind of things that people want. But yeah, the general idea would be to kind of identify what is your biggest issue. Like, are you not getting enough like eyeballs on you as a business or a company, or do you kind of lack the content or direction or personality, sorry, in your content and whatnot, or are you actually like showing off what you can do? Because there's a lot of businesses I see online where they just take some really like half-assed photos, or just some dude took on their phone, and you show this to a customer and it kind of looks like you don't care. So things of that matter, like you really got to represent your brand properly. So you would need to think about, okay, what areas do you need to focus on? Do we want to like grow our audience? Do we need to like focus on our brand image, or are we just looking to kind of show our expertise and skills? They all kind of like interlink together, so it's not that easy to kind of like single one thing out. You kind of got to focus on everything and get it all right. Otherwise, if you just focus too much on one thing, it's not really going to work. You got to do everything at once. So you really just need to think about what is your end goal: leads, sales, conversions, that matter.
Interesting. And I'm going to lead you straight. Well, I'm going to come straight at where I believe your strength is and where you've helped us the most with our businesses. You've added great value not just to me, but to also to Joe Cunningham, with helping promote some of the training that we do for the industry. So why? Okay, this is probably a couple of questions. I want to know why Reels are so popular, and I know I don't personally use TikTok, but I've heard it's a good way to get yourself out there. But there's so many different social platforms out there that can get eyes on our business, and for me, when you started to help us with our Reels, we started to get a lot of attention on that. So there must be a reason for that, why Reels are so good. So for your average plumber that wants to promote his business, get more people, because it's about attention. It's about getting eyeballs on the brand. It's about people remembering you when their drain blocks or their water heater bursts or whatever it is. So what is it about these short Reels and what you do, what you create for us, that works so well?
Well, the biggest thing about Reels is, as much as it pains to say it, like everyone's attention spans are just dwindling, when it comes to creating content online. For example, before with YouTube, it was kind of the normal was like the first 15 seconds. You've got to have like a great, interesting hook. And now it's more like the first 5 seconds. And when it comes to a reel or a TikTok or whatever, it's got to be the first 2 seconds or 3 seconds, depending on who you ask, that you've really got to like hook people and get people interested. But the reason why they're so powerful is because if you can provide good value and something that's interesting and sparks curiosity with a person who's viewing it, they're going to watch it. And pretty much every single social media platform right now is pushing these short form content or short form style videos, and they have just a huge potential to go viral. You have some of my friends, they've just posted like very simple stuff of Muay Thai, their Muay Thai training, and they've got like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of views just from like very simple and basic videos. So there is a huge potential there where it's kind of like, I don't want to say you should put any effort in, but for a very low effort or low, let's say, barrier to entry, because creating something like a 10-minute long YouTube video or a sales video requires a bit of effort and know-how. But to create a very simple 10 to 15 second short video about like what you do or what you're doing, how you're doing something as a business. Say, for example, if you're a plumber, you could just like show a before and after of a job for a kitchen sink or something like that that was like completely falling apart. Something simple like that, and it has a huge potential to just go absolutely bonkers. There's some crazy videos you'll see online which seem like they should not be as viral, as popular as they are, but they have millions and millions of views. And it takes you all of 20-30 seconds to just take out your phone and record something that you've done. So that's why short form content right now is like really the king, because you can just pump so many out. And let's say on average, if you get like 10,000 views on one piece of content that you post, and it takes you, let's say 30 seconds to a minute to record it, and then maybe like another 15 minutes to like edit, cut it up, make it look fancy, and then post it online. If you could do that like 3-4 times a day, then you got 40,000 people who are looking at you and your business. So there's huge potential there. The only downside with the short form content, I would say, is that I'm sure for people who watch short form content, you kind of realize you're just kind of mindlessly scrolling through infinite library of these videos. So getting conversions from that is not as rewarding or as easy as you would get conversions from YouTube or something like that, or like an ad standard long form ad video on Facebook or whatnot, because simply to put it, the people have like a really short attention span, and they're not going to really necessarily break the cycle of like, oh, this looks interesting, I'm going to go check them out, I'm going to go to their website and like book a call or schedule a viewing or whatever. So it is conversion rates are typically a lot lower when it comes to shorts and reels and whatnot. But when you compare it to producing typical long form advertising or content, the kind of reward to effort is a lot higher on the short form side, especially since all of the major platforms are really pushing that stuff out. So if you aren't doing it for your business, you really should at least do some very simple stuff, because there's no reason not to. If you're going out and you're going to do a very simple basic job, it might take you an extra 5 minutes to record with your phone, but you might potentially get a few thousand people on the worst side of things, and maybe up to millions of people if you're lucky, if it's an engaging or interesting video. So you can imagine, if you get even 0.1% of those people, millions of people who watch your reels or shorts into conversions, then you're going to be pretty happy with that.
Love it. So like I said, Daniel, I've been following the social space for marketing service companies for a long time now. Have I perfected it? No. But I believe that everything that I've learned is pointing me more to using social, and it's via, I suppose, now with the number of big companies popping up in the US that are looking to grow their brands and moving away from the conventional radio, TV advertising, and moving to social. So, but look, I work with big companies here in the US as well as Australia, and small companies. So I'd like to, maybe as an example, I've got quite a few smaller companies, 3 to 5 trucks. They don't have the big budgets to spend to compete on AdWords. And look, Google AdWords, from when I first started using it for, say a burst for a water heater or a drain or whatever, the service that we provided, was really cheap. And I'm going back to 2002, I think, when we first started. It was like $15-20 you could buy a lead. Now it's 10, 15, 20 times that. I mean, I hear of some contractors spending $500 to buy what's a priority call. And yes, when someone's got an emergency, they go into Google and they'll click on a paid ad to get someone urgently. But I'm thinking of it from a different angle, in that if I had some cool, and I've seen some short videos go viral, just like plumbers clearing drains, and then getting like 1 million views because they're in a car park, it was full of water and the water went down. I mean, stuff like that I've seen go viral, and who knows what's gonna really grab everyone's attention. But so I'm a small company. I don't really have the big budget, and I just want to get something out there that's gonna get some attention, because I believe if our name is in front of our audience enough and something happens, they're going to think of us, right? So someone on a low budget wants to maybe pick a few of the platforms. The Facebook is obviously a good platform, YouTube. So where would they start, and what would they do besides taking some videos off the phone? What is it that they specifically would need to say if they engage with you, which I hope they do? What is it they need to do to get things out there to make it happen?
Yeah, well, so you really want to start at what your business is and what content would kind of suit the business. I've seen a lot of examples of this where people who are into like culinary arts, or for example, some business that's selling knives, they make like a bunch of like interesting, I don't know if you've seen it. There's a very interesting series of videos of these Chinese guys who selling these butcher's knives that are like super, super sharp. And they have this cutting board. It's like a little public booth that people are coming up to. And it's just a 20-second video of this guy trying to cut through this giant bone. I don't know what animal this bone has come from, but it's thick like my forearm. And he's hacking at it with this regular kitchen knife or a butcher's knife. Doesn't work. The knife breaks. Then he gets out his knife and then he just slices through it perfectly, no problems, no issues, just one swing, and it's cut like that. And those videos get millions and millions of views because it's interesting. It catches the attention because right away people see like, oh, what's going on? What's this? There's clearly an issue, and then there's a solution to the problem. So people really like those kind of real satisfying videos. So you got to think about, what problems would my potential customers have, and what is something that I can show to them, like a solution with my product that it would be an interesting way. Like for example. When you mentioned those plumbers like clearing out a flooded like parking lot or whatever, that's a very satisfying thing because you see it's like full of water, it's completely dirty and disgusting, and then you get a plumber to come in there and clean it, and now it's all clean and shiny, and that kind of just triggers a little bit of like a dopamine rush in your brain because it's like, oh, the problem has been fixed, and it's very satisfying to watch people fix problems. So I found online, and I see it myself. I like to watch these videos where there's a problem and the whole video is based on a product that solves this problem. And if you can make it in a fun and interesting or exciting way, then 100% it's going to go viral. So if you can really try to think about what problems you solve to potential customers, and what are some fun and exciting or interesting ways that you can showcase this to your potential customers. Because if you can make some interesting reels like that, then it's just going to go through the moon. It doesn't have to be complicated, simple. People prefer actually now on short form content if it's looks like it's more kind of been shot amateurly and not professional. That's actually a really big thing that we've noticed with statistics now, is that people tend to like kind of shy away from short form content that is shot like professionally on a super nice camera, 4K, 8K, it's super cinematic, because people instantly see that and recognize that as, oh, this is probably like some form of advertising. But when it's someone who's shot it on their phone, it feels a little bit more genuine and a little bit more personal, like, oh, it was like a person behind this and not a whole company. So if you can also try to keep it kind of low budget, obviously make it look a little bit nice, but don't go overboard. You don't have to go overboard. You want to put in a bit of effort, but you don't want to go through the roof, because there's no point in really putting everything into one short, because there's a good chance that it just completely flops. The problem or the difference between short form content and long form content, for example, like YouTube, some great example of people that I know is, there's one guy who used to have a problem with alcohol, so he became sober, and then he makes YouTube videos just talking about why alcohol is bad for you. And all those long form videos, they have what we call they're evergreen content. So they have a longer lifespan than the short form content, because typically if you post like a reel or something like that, within the first like 3-4 days after that, it's not really going to get any more views. It can happen, but it's very rare. But for example, with YouTube specifically, you can post a video out and it's going to get like 10 to 100 views per day, let's just say on the low side. But you stretch that over a year, that's a lot of views. So you just kind of put in a lot more effort into the long form content, but the return in the long run is a lot higher than short form. So you kind of want to as well decide which avenue you want to take. Obviously, if you're a little bit smaller scale and on a bit of a tighter budget, then I think short form is great because it's quick, it's easy, it's very easy to implement that into your, I guess you could say, business model or marketing structure, because it doesn't take a lot of effort. But if you want to focus on doing long form content, then it's a little bit more difficult because you really got to make sure that you're creating a good piece of content online, because if it's not interesting, then you've wasted 10 minutes where people are only watching the first 15 seconds and clicking off. But with a short form content, you spend 5 minutes to make a 15-second or 20-second video, and if the first 3 seconds are okay or not that good, then it's whatever, you lost 20 minutes of your time. So yeah, there's a big payoff, or it's kind of like a trade-off. You got to decide what you want to do. But for most people, I think that shorts and reels, short form content is the way to go. If you're not trying to build like a really kind of empire, you can always start to do long form later down the line. But when you're starting out and you're a smaller business, short form is honestly a great way to go. I've seen a lot of examples of actually, this is very, very interesting, kind of like reverse psychology. There's a lot of small businesses online on Instagram specifically, because Instagram has a store feature, so you can buy products to the store. And people will actually say, I have a small business and it's failing. And then they'll showcase their product, they'll show a price, they'll show that, I'm a small business and I'm just struggling, I'm trying to survive. But it really resonates with people. So those reels, they go viral, and then, suddenly, the situation is completely flipped, and now these small businesses are actually doing very well because they were relatable and they were just connecting with people. So this is a great example of why just doing very simple and authentic short form content is great, because it's really very as simple as recording yourself just doing your daily work, and then just putting a bit of text on the screen saying like, oh, my name is so and so, and this is my small business, and this is what I do, and here's here's how I help people. And people find it, like, people love it, they find it interesting, and they really connect with it. And if people connect with it, then they're going to share it and it's going to go viral, and then you've got a couple million eyeballs on you and your business. So hopefully, or it should at least bring you some good money and help push things along.
Fantastic. The other thing too, Daniel, and yeah, wow, you've thrown a lot of really good ideas at everyone, which is what this podcast is about, right? I encourage everyone that I work with to use, instead of having one way to generate 100 calls, I say, well, why don't we look at 100 ways to generate a call? And there's so many different things we can do. And I think if we become reliant on just one or two ways to generate calls, we become a victim to the cost of the and I'm referring to any form of paid advertising. But what I found is that there is different types of paid advertising. Some are more expensive than others. Obviously, if you're an emergency business, you're going to pay more to get the call. But so besides short reels and fun stuff that the team can actually generate from out in the field, what about things like we used to do stories on the company, but we paid a production company to come in and do the video, and it cost a lot of money. And like I said, I'm trying to throw as many ideas out there to everyone that's listening on low cost ways to do it. And I'm sure if they get connected with you, Daniel, you'll be able to throw some additional ideas. I spend a fair bit of time in my group talking about just all the little things they can do to enhance their marketing experience. So besides short videos and things like reels, where else can you help a contractor to maybe get some attention, maybe with their existing customers? We do things like send out a tech bio or an explanation video. Where else do you feel contractors can get value from someone like you?
Well, I think what's a really great approach as well is I forget the terminology or the name for this, but it's basically a model where you actually explain or give solutions, and you tell your customers, like, Here's how to solve this problem. And so you are basically giving away knowledge for free and your expertise out there for free, right? And when people see it, they obviously appreciate the value that you give. So you can give out good information that's going to help people, and by you being honest and genuine, they're going to obviously like and appreciate you, so that you can actually gather a little bit of an audience. And you know the biggest thing today is growing or getting an audience. That's kind of how everything is measured. You can ask anyone who's like, oh yeah, I'm a content creator, or like I'm a YouTuber, I'm a Instagrammer. The first thing that everyone asks is how many followers, how many subscribers you got. So yeah, apart from doing the short form stuff, you can also just put out, like, I would say, informational content about your business and what it does. So for example, if you're a plumber, you could put out information about, like, here's like 5 things you can do to like prevent like potential issues with your plumbing. For example, like a lot of people, hair is like a really common thing. You get clogged drains because of hair. So maybe you like recommend like a hair catcher for the showers or something like that. And by showing that you're genuine and that you care about the customers, that's another great way. You can just simply put a photo or whatever with a little bit of text, or a very short, very quick, like 10-15 second video. I know you said not shorts, but it's just too good not to do shorts. But that's just an idea or an example of what you can do, is just give out actual useful and helpful information. The medium which you give out this content doesn't really matter. But I think that the short form is the best, simply because it's very, very likely to go viral if you're actually providing good value, and that's the most important thing. But yeah, just give out helpful and good information, whether you do it through photos or just text or blogs or whatever. It's just another way. But generally, what you want to do is just provide good and valuable content, and people will definitely like notice that and appreciate that, because 99% of the people, or I wouldn't say 99%, but a large majority of people online who are trying to like, put stuff in front of you, they're just trying to sell you stuff, right? So when you actually come out and say like, hey, here's like, free information that is useful for you and it's actually going to help you and might save you potential problems in the future, people really appreciate that. So figuring out some kind of way to give that free value, useful knowledge to people, is like another great way to just grow your brand loyalty, brand trust, and hopefully new people. Because you can imagine if someone sees that and say, oh, that's a great thing, I'm going to tell everyone I know, like, oh, if you like follow these guys or this company, they give out free information that's very useful and is actually going to save you some money. That's just an example of what I think is another good kind of approach to what you said.
Love it. Well, listen, that's probably, I think we don't want to overload everyone that's listening. We've thrown lots of really good ideas. So now, no, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, Daniel, and very appreciative of all the value that you add to myself, Joe, Sid, and the team. So I always ask everyone this: what's a book that you're currently reading that you might find that will improve the lives of our listeners? Anything come to mind?
Well, I'm not currently reading a book. I do need to start one, but I would definitely recommend Atomic Habits. That's a really, really good one. Even even if it's not necessarily related to business or anything like that, I think that having a good foundation is like the absolute like most important thing when it comes to doing anything successful in life. There's like a really nice quote. I can't remember if it's 100% correct, but it's like any job worth doing is worth doing 100%, right? So when you build these good habits and everything like that, you improve yourself as an individual. And this book is all about, how to create these or create good habits. And when you have good habits, then it's very hard to fail at life if you're doing things right, or at least have a good mindset. And that's why I think this is definitely like a must read book for anyone who's like the least bit interested in being a successful individual.
I'm pretty sure I've read that book a couple of years back. Correct me if I'm wrong. The author is James Clear.
Yes, just James Clear.
Yeah. Now I have a pretty big library of books, but I tend to listen to more books now on Audible because reading, for whatever reason, puts me to sleep, and it's not good to be reading while you're driving anyway. So, yeah. Now, how does everyone get in contact with you, Daniel? And I want to, get everyone that really wants to take their social and marketing seriously. How do they get a hold of Daniel Sofr?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me at my email. So that's just danielsofer.edits@gmail.com. You can discuss all things, if you want help kind of coming up with ideas and just content ideas in general for your business. I'm more than happy to consult you on that. If you want like the whole shebang, like content ideas, actual like help with planning and producing them, and then post production editing, that's fine as well. Or you can reach out to me on my Instagram, which is at daniel.sofar. I do have a website as well, which is by danielsofer.com. I don't have a official like thing yet. That's more so a portfolio for my video work and photo work. But you can contact me through that website as well. There's a button there. But yeah, I'm still putting everything together and trying to build myself up. So if anyone who's watching this is interested in working with someone who's really really passionate about this stuff, I mean, I love creating content and at least creating interesting and fun content that obviously benefits you as an individual and your business trying to get sales. I think it's a very fun challenge, and it's a very interesting time we live in. I think it's just great fun because, in my opinion, a lot of traditional marketing is I wouldn't say dead, but it is falling behind as more and more children are growing up staring at iPads and phones all day. They're not going to care about newspapers, TV, radio, or whatnot, or even emails. Everything. A lot of people now just go through Instagram. They see a product, the button's right there, and they buy it. So yeah, if you want to use short form content or even long form content to try and upgrade your business, then yeah, let's get in touch and talk.
Thank you, Daniel. It's been fantastic, and I'll grab all your details. We'll put it into the show notes. So I think that's a wrap. So thanks everyone for joining in on Pipeline to Profitability podcast, and we'll catch you on the next podcast. Thanks again, my friend. Cheers.
No, thank you. Cheers.